everyone. Thank you so much for contacting me with your questions. I'm very excited to make some video content for all of you explaining the book that we use, the plan that we use to get out of debt, and hopefully I can help inspire you all to also live debt-free lives. My husband and I were really sick and tired of sitting down every paycheck, paying the bills, and hardly having anything left over when we both had very good jobs. I'm a registered nurse. He also lives in the healthcare field, and every paycheck we were sitting down, able to make our payments, but nothing after that. We thought we knew everything there was about saving money. I always put any extra money usually in a savings account, but then when we wanted something, we always just used the savings account to pay for it and pretty much then would deplete it and just have to save it back up again. As far as credit cards, I thought it was normal to have a credit card. I thought that was the way you built your credit, was to get a credit card. So it's all about the cards that were interest free. I would go buy a purchase on them and then pay it off before the interest free months were up. And I was so focused on having a really high FICO score, which I was totally brainwashed on that because you really don't even need to have a FICO score, which we can get into that later as well too. So I had to look in the mirror and figure out that it wasn't the money that was wrong, it was the way I was managing it. So I was the biggest problem. So I had to correct myself in order to really be able to live a debt-free life. So there was a lot of things I had to learn myself. Basically, the number one motto that Dave Ramsey uses and that I'm going to use a lot too is live like no one else now, so later you can live like no one else. That's going to mean saying no to a lot of things, but if you want results, then you have to be willing to delay pleasure for that as well too. But we'll get in also in some videos about the budgeting and the envelope system, because you can still live a life and get debt free. You just have to say no to a lot more opportunities than what you would have before. But you have to know that in the end, it'll all be worth it. And remember, we all have a different story. Some of us were only $40,000 in debt. Some are more, some are less. So we're all going to finish this together, but it's all going to take a different amount of time. But the same goal in the end is all to be debt-free, and I really think that we can do that. So if you follow the guidelines in this book, which is the Total Money Makeover, I do recommend buying this book. You can get it on Amazon. I think it's like around $10 on Amazon, maybe a little bit more. But Dave also on his website has lots of $10 Dave deals, and I think right now you can get this book for $10. So I do recommend maybe getting on his website. I believe it's daveramsey.com or Amazon for this book, because this is the book that I started with. I feel like this book here is my Bible. It's my lifesaver, and it was totally worth the $10 investment I paid. I was skeptical at first if this was going to work or not, but I followed the plan and I have proved that it works. And a lot of people have said to me lately, I'm in too much debt. I don't make enough money. I'll never be able to pay off the debt like you have, but great job. And that's why I have to sit there and say to them, listen, it doesn't matter how much you make. All that matters is if you don't make a lot, that's why living on the budget is what you need to do. You need to be able to tell your money where to go. You have to make cuts. You have to learn how to say no. You have to learn how to do those things, and you can be debt free. It's worked for millions of people. If you ever have time, he has podcasts. Download his podcast. Listen to his radio show. You will be so inspired at the end of the 3 hours. If you just sit down and listen to 3 hours of it one day, you will be so inspired by everybody's stories. It's amazing. So in this book too, he has great debt myths, such as loaning money to others is helping others, but that actually is just like feeding their addiction. Like you wouldn't buy a drug addict drugs if they didn't have the money to do that. That's what this is saying here. You don't let somebody borrow money. For them is sit them down and teach them, show them a budget, show them what to do with their money, because that's what they need to learn, because they're never going to learn if you keep giving them money and feeding into that. You have to stop being an enabler, which my husband and I were definitely enablers, so that was something hard for us to stop as well too. Such as debt myths on co-signing for someone. A co-signing loan is also helping them. Again, that's just enabling them as well too. There's myths about the 90-day same as cash that you've probably heard about. Everybody thinks a car payment is a way of life, but that's not true. Dave started out driving like $1,000 beater, and he'll explain in this book how you save up money for a car and you get something cheap, and then you save up another little bit of money, and then with that trade in that money you get something a little more expensive. But I won't get into that detail because he explains that fantastically in this book. So like again, the FICO credit score, everyone thinks you have to have a good FICO credit score, but FICO pretty much means you love debt. And I was always concerned about having, I want an 800 FICO score. That was pretty much just showing that I love debt debt, and I love paying debt off. So FICO scores aren't that great. But as well as that book too, he does have something called the Financial Peace University Kit. Now he also holds classes. You can get online and Google those up, and he has classes all over the United States that you can attend. Those are great too. I've never attended a live class, but this kit is awesome as well too. The kit comes with a little welcome guide. You get some pencils, an eraser, things like that. You get a little workbook that follows along with a plan as well too. You also get another book called The Complete Guide to Money, which goes along with the CDs and the DVDs that you'll be following along with too. So it's like a 9-week course. Every week you do a different chapter, so you just pop in the CD or the DVD into the DVD player, watch that. There's a little bit of homework to do in the workbook. And then he also has the audio books too for every lesson as well too. So if you're not much just in the reading, the audio books would be great for you as well. You get a cool little budgeted envelope system, which we will get into later about how to budget and the envelope system. We never used it, but you can do a progress chart, hang it up on your fridge. It lists the baby steps on the back too, so you can mark those off as you do them. Financial Peace University Kit, it's a little bit more money, but definitely worth the investment as well. But if you're just looking to get started, highly recommend this book. Basically then I'll just end with telling you what the baby steps are, and we'll get into the baby steps more in a different video. So baby step 1 is $1,000 emergency fund. You need to have $1,000. That would mostly help with deductibles. Most deductibles are $500 to $1,000. So if you wrecked your car, you knew you had an emergency fund to cover that deductible. If you ever have to use that emergency fund during this process, you automatically stop whatever step you're on and go back and make sure you have that $1,000 in there. So once you have your $1,000, you move to baby step 2, and that is this debt snowball. And he'll talk to you about that. You really don't want to focus on your largest debt. It doesn't matter the interest rate. You want to focus on your smallest one, pay that off as quickly as you can, and then it just snowballs from there. And I will definitely get into more detail about that step, because we were stuck on that step for a long time, and that is the most important. So baby step 3 is then fully funding an emergency fund. Once you're out of debt, you should save up 3 to 6 months of expenses. So if you or your husband lose your job, you should have enough income to be able to live off of for 3 to 6 months. So that's baby step 3. Baby step 4 is investing 15% of your household income into retirement. Baby step 5 is planning for your kids' college, so starting a college fund for them. In his book, he gives a lot more detail about all the different plans you can do to save for your kids' college. And then it's paying off the house. And then the last step is being able to give. His big thing is build wealth and be able to give. So those are the 7 baby steps. We'll get into each of those in detail. So if you have any questions, please comment below. Like this video for me. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll be posting more videos soon. And I hope you all have a great day.